Don Cherry. It's one thing to have a movie on your life, Don. You haven't seen that yet.
Never saw it. That jokes you up a little.
Yeah, I mean, you've talked about this much in your life about the impact Rose has had on your life, and to see it in the movie, when you see it back, what does that feel like?
It's tough to explain right now because you got me in a weak moment. I should have seen that, I think, before. And Sarah looked so much like Rose, and Cindy had her hair done right, and that's the kind of clothes she wore. And Sarah even went and talked to people from Pennsylvania, from Hershey, and got her accent and the whole thing. So that's the first time I've seen that.
It's quite a moment, you know, whenever they make a movie about a person's life. You're lucky because oftentimes they do it when the person passes on, but you're here.
Well, CBC wishes I was gone sometimes, but...
Oh, listen, dude. They just say that in the press because it makes more money for them when it brings in ratings. How did this come to be? Where this was the time to make this film?
Well, Timothy had been trying to get me to do it for about, my son Tim had been trying to get me for about 8 years, and I kept saying no. And finally, about 3 or 4 years ago, he says, you know, Dad, it's not going to be about you, it's going to be about Mom. And so he wrote the script. And when I looked at it, I said, and I had a producer say to Tim, he said, when he read it, he said, Tim, your dad doesn't look too good here. So anyhow, it's I think it's a tribute to Rose. That's why we did it. And there's no, can I say something? There's no swearing in it either. Yeah. I want to get that perfectly clear. So I got a big following of young kids, young hockey players. So there's no, you know, that word's not in it, and which I'm very proud of too.
Have you ever said that word behind the bench though?
Oh, we had, listen, tell you, Gerard said, this is tough doing this hockey scenes in the dressing room with no swearing, but we did our best anyhow.
Well, I do find it interesting that you've chosen, because you could have seen this film, but you've chosen not to see this. It airs on Sunday on CBC. Why the decision to do it?
Well, I think you just saw that if I'm with other people and I see scenes like that, I think I'd probably make a fool of myself. So I'm going to be by myself. Blue and I are going to be there, and my goldfish, and that's all it's going to be. The goldfish will only want to see me making a fool of myself, but it's going to be tough. It really is going to be tough, and I think it really is I think the women will really like it too. Rose was so great. 53 moves. Never complained. Could have gone home to her mother when I went to Three Rivers and places like that. No, stuck with me, and I have to laugh when I saw in the paper when a player got traded, his wife was very upset that she had to leave all the food in the fridge, all the packed food. And I think of Rose, when we moved, she had a cardboard box and putting half a bottle of ketchup and mustard and you know, and throwing it in the back with Cindy. So it's a tribute to Rose, the love story.
Well, it also does speak a lot to make it to this level where you are now. You had to put the work in. And so I think a lot of the young players today, it's a very different reality than it would have been for you.
Well, it was a tough. Some of the things when I look that we went through, and I think it's one of the spots, George, that I think it's going to be good for the people that are unemployed. That I couldn't get a job sweeping floors. I had no education. I had no trade, and I know how those guys and women feel that are unemployed out there. And I think you know, if a guy like me can make it on something like that, they can make it. So I think of them all the time when I read about those auto workers. And that I know how a guy like you would never be unemployed, but guy
unemployed a long time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's just different,
tough.
right?
It's really tough.
Well, tell me about the Eddie Shore stuff, because that to me is, because we hear now about coaches and players, and you were a coach in a different era than the players are today, but you played for some of the nastiest people.
I played for Punch, was one of the best, but I have to say Eddie Shore, he was called the Darth Vader of hockey. He was so bad that they had it in their contracts that players couldn't be sent to Springfield. If you acted up in the National, I swear to God, if you acted up in the National Hockey League, they'd send you there as a punishment. It was like Devil's Island, believe me. Oh. And I was 3.5. Give you an illustration. It's in the movie. Maybe I shouldn't do it, but the stretch that he didn't like goaltenders going down, and he kept telling this guy, "Quit going flopping down." And he took a rope, tied it around the crossbar, and tied it around the guy's neck. That'll give you an indication of what's going on. And
that goaltender did not make a pass save.
You know, and he tried it. And another one in it. Maybe I shouldn't give this away, but I broke my toe. And he had a theory how to fix a broken toe. And you have to see it to believe it. How he tried to fix a broken toe. So I went through all it, and he was there 3.5 years. But he was one of the greatest defensemen of all time. It's just that he was nuts as a coach.
But some players swear on By, right? Some players still look at him and
Brian
love him.
Kilray thinks he's a genius, and Brian Kilray winning as coach of Everett Junior. So a lot of guys like me. For some reason, he didn't like me, and he called me the Madagascar. And I don't know why. Of all the things Madagascar, I didn't even know what it was. And there's a scene in there why I ask him why he calls me Madagascar. So you'll have to see it as I'm walking, as I'm being sent to Three Rivers for breaking my stick over my coach.
Nice. Hey, did your coach have it coming?
He did have it coming. Yeah. He was trying to hurt me. And that was I think one producer says it looks like you go from one disaster to another disaster to another disaster. And we just kept getting lower and lower, and we kept getting lower. And the pay, well, I made $4,500 my first year, and 9 years later they cut me to $42. So it was tough. 22 years. You know how they say the guys they're on the bus, they travel. I traveled 22 years on the bus, and
That's incredible.
Yeah, and slept on the bus 3 games in a row. And get up and 6 o'clock and the whole deal. It was a tough deal.
Did you ever not love hockey in those days?
No, we did it because it was a way of life. I thought I was going to play forever, and it was one of those stupid guys. And at the end of it, all of a sudden, I found out I had no trade, like I said, no education and no job. And I can honestly,
this guy, man.
Yeah, and I can honestly say, I swear to God, strike me dead, Rose with all those 53 moves and all that stuff. Never complained once, not once, and said you're a failure, because I really was a failure.
But in that moment we saw, she didn't let you get away with stuff.
No.
She said she was disappointed, and she pushed it on you.
Yeah.
Those moments must have been really, really complicated, because you know that she had been a saint for most of this.
Well, she did, and she was right. I mean, and she was right what she said. That's how you went and got a job. You went to Queen Elizabeth Hotel in Montreal, and you stood around, and you went up for interviews, and that's how guys got their jobs. And because you're out of sight, out of mind, and I just wouldn't do it, and I didn't do it, and I didn't get a job.
How about in the end you did, though? In the end it worked out okay.
I did in the end, and I really hung tough on it, and it was, how would I say, I was balancing almost, I remember the days when when I didn't have a job, and I hope they put that one thing, I haven't seen it, where I asked the Lord to help me, and He told me to come back and play hockey and get into the hockey again. That's a true story. I'm not an evangelist. Yeah. I'm not, you know.
Was it a moment of prayer?
It
just
was.
You and your,
it was. Yeah. And out of a clear blue sky, I swear, voice said, "Get back into hockey."
You sure it wasn't Rose in the other room going, "Hockey"?
No. Actually, she didn't want me to get back into hockey because I was 20 pounds overweight, and I worked too hard. And she came out one time, had a sweatsuit on in the heat, trying to lose the weight and everything. And she said, "You're going to die." And I said, "That's right, Rose. I'm going to die, or I'm going to make this club."
And you made a club, right?
I made her.
What was it? I want to go back to the prayer thing, because it is always a big moment in a person's life when they have to ask for help.
Well, I had hit rock bottom. I really, I mean, there was no, I couldn't get a job sweeping floors, and you know, I had a family support. I had nowhere to go. I didn't know what to do. I established myself as the world's worst car salesman, and
you a Cadillac salesman? Is that you?
I tried to be. I was, and one guy said, "All you guys are the same," and I nailed him against the wall. Well, right away, I knew I wasn't cut out.
That's not how you sell cars.
No, I wasn't cut out, so I couldn't do that. I couldn't get a job sweeping floors. I couldn't get anything. So I turned to the Lord, and like I say, a lot of people are sitting home thinking this guy, you know, he's an evangelist or something like that. Believe me, when you hit rock bottom, he's the only guy to turn to.
Well, no, I mean, I think that people know that you're passionate. You know, that's it. You're still having fun on Hockey Night in Canada?
Oh, hey, listen, I can hardly wait. What would they do without me, too, by the way? Montreal Canadiens there.
We stopped the guy in a Montreal Canadiens shirt right up front for you. The kid who played you, Jared, what was that like? Did you meet him beforehand?
No, I didn't. Tim told me how I acted. I didn't know how I acted, and I never met him before. And the big thing is, I was worried about, could he skate? I mean, you know, he's an actor.
Could you skate?
Well, I could skate a little. It's 22 years. I lasted 16 years. So, but I watched him in a couple of clips that they showed us the commercials on TV. It's the only time an actor can skate better than the guy he's playing. Yeah.
The actor who played Don is a guy named Jared Kiso. Jared's actually here. He'll join us right after the commercial break. Listen, there are not many people in this country that would be more intimidating to play than him when he's alive, and you know you got to meet him.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, the first thing I thought when I got the part was, you know, I was pretty blindsided. I thought, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure this means I get to meet Ron McLean. It hasn't worked out for me yet, although the CBC's pulling the strings, and I think it's going to work out. But finding out I was going to play Don Cherry is just an outstanding opportunity for me. I mean, I can't tell you how many bus trips and pre-game rituals and video sessions that Don was a part of while I was growing up playing minor hockey in Listowel, Ontario. So to sit right next to him, let alone play him in the story of his life, is still a bit much for me.
I'll tell you, there's a moment, because, you know, you don't have an accent, Don, but you have a way of speaking, and one thing I noticed when I was watching this was, wow, he got it. He got the Don Cherry mannerisms without making, it didn't feel like you were doing an impression. It felt like you were him. And how did you figure that out? Because, you know, a lot of people love to imitate Don, but they don't do it right usually. How'd you do it?
Well, I'd like to try and emulate more than imitate. The accent or the twang in the voice that kind of comes from my hometown in Listowel is similar to Don, so it was a pretty short trip that way. But I've had my nose broken a couple times, and as a result, it's kind of nasally. So finding that low tone of Don's voice was kind of tough for me.
And so, what was the first meeting like between the two of you?
It was a phone conversation actually, and we talked about our dogs. It was great, picture perfect.
He's good. Great dog. He's got a great dog, and I got Blue. How could you go wrong?
Let me show you a picture of him, actually. Yeah, I got a picture of this guy right here.
Oh, wow.
Can we get that up there? Let's get out of the house quick.
You know, that beauty?
That's a nice dog.
He hung around the set. He was there all the time when he was doing the acting. He was a great guy.
It's important, though, to find something to connect on, right? Because it is an unnatural reality when you're like, hi, I'm me, and you're going to be me.
Yeah,
so,
and here's my dog.
And here's my dog. That's incredible.
Beauty.
Are you nervous for him? Sunday night, when the rest of the country watches it, that's when Cherry's going to watch it.
Well, I've talked to Tim and Cindy, and they're very honest people, and them being on board gives me a lot of confidence that Don is really going to like the end product. So.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, nervous definitely. I mean, nervous about the end product, not so much. Of course, it's easy to say until some critic comes along, takes my head off. Yeah. But we're really proud of what we did. We put blood, sweat, and tears into the picture, and we're all very pleased with it.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be pleased as well. Can you at least get him a meeting with McLean?
Well, he's in Bermuda or something. That's the way he is. But yeah, he's taking it easy.
The film was called "Keep Your Head Up, Kid," the Don Cherry story. Did someone give you that piece of advice, or is that because I know you say it? So.
Well, actually, that came from when I was a rookie. I was coming up the ice with my head down, and I just got leveled and KO'd. And as I woke up, I was sitting up like that, and one of the guys says, "Hey, keep your head up, kid." And I always kept it up after that.
Nice. I mean, we got to go back. Down the road, I got to talk to you about headshots. I got to talk to you about, are the Phoenix Coyotes going to move back to Winnipeg? Do you think that's going to, will it be Phoenix?
I've already said that eventually one of the teams will go to Winnipeg.
So in the next few years, perhaps, you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, somebody's got to go with those teams down there. I mean, they're losing billions and billions. Phoenix lost $40 million last year. Go to Winnipeg, you'll make a ton of dough.
Wow, and Phoenix is, weirdly enough, might be tops in the conference after it's all said and done.
After it's over, and they're still, they're selling out now, but all season they just average 11,000 people.
So the Leafs aren't in the playoffs, obviously nowhere near it. The Bruins are barely, if they're in, are going to stay in at all.
They'll be in it.
So then, who's your pick for the Stanley Cup this year? Do you have one?
I'll go along with Washington.
Washington?
Calgary Flames will not only make the playoffs, they'll win the Stanley Cup.
I like this guy. All right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
you don't believe that, do you?
I absolutely
Unbelievable.
Every season.
I like this guy. See, he is Don Cherry.
No kidding.